This week, the Northwest finds many reasons for content. The Loot Fairy keeps one of the most valuable modules in the game. The Imperium continues to march towards FI.RE Coalition Staging. There is a Paladin Meetup in Pochven, and I announce a break from producing content. Hello pod people, I'm Frost, and this is your weekly EVE Online update. Welcome back. So I realised I've dropped a bit of a bombshell there, and I will talk more about that when I do the FI.RE skin giveaway a little bit later on in the show. So talking of FI.RE scope syndication skins, I have two to give away later on, like I just said. My two winners from last week have failed to come forward. So this is Michael A and Mick the Old. These are your YouTube names. Please get in touch with me so I can hand you your FI.RE skins, please. All right, so let's jump straight into the news. Let me go up into my box. As always, we've got Declan in front of us. I'm going to make sure my pen is working today. Let me just make sure. There we go. Yeah, we're all good. Okay, so we're going to start off with these three systems up here in the north, the Declan, Fade and Pureblood. As Snuffed Out, I've been super busy in this general region generating content. And if we actually go and start with Fade, we can go into... here we go. So into C8-CHY. Now this was a fight over an Athanor that belonged to We Form Volta. And as you could see, it was a pretty even trade. I mean, it was Nightmares versus Nightmares. And obviously both these groups, that's Snuffed Out and We Form Volta, have always liked the Nightmares, and we've seen them using them a lot. And obviously since the battleship changes that came in a couple of months ago, you know, they're becoming even more relevant now. So we had kind of almost identical fleets here, that we had two Nightmare fleets, and then we had a bunch of Dreads as well. And the end result of this is that we ended up with pretty much an even trade on both sides at 34 billion each. So I think everyone was very happy with that. And also XQTs, or the old Skill Yourself, these guys made a show, so the name is still freaking me out. So the XQTs, they made a showing as well, just getting in on the kill mails there. Apparently Greater Trash Community have given them the name Alphabet Soup, which is also another good name. I think I'm going to stick for XQTs for now until there is another reason to change that. Okay, so that's the first fight that involved Snuffed Out and Greater Trash Community. Then there was another one that took place in Declan. Now this one was really interesting because it was over an abandoned Asbel. So basically Snuffed Out showed up for this, went to go and kill it, and a fight broke out as a consequence of this. Now one of the reasons why this is quite so skewed is primarily due to the fact that a whole bunch of stuff dropped out of this Asbel that was quickly dispatched. So we had a Zenitra, which literally had no fit in it. So that was very, as you know, I like the Zenitra, and it was a shame to see one die under these circumstances. We had a Rev, a couple of Revs, and a Raya as well. So all of these, plus the Asbel as well, basically contributed to the vast majority of this. So even though, we have We Form Blood and Fraternity on this side, like I say, the majority of the losses are due to the actual structure itself. We had the XQTs also made a showing in some bombers as well, once again getting in on the kill mails there. Also, Brotherhood of Spaces are actually on the wrong side. Brotherhood of Spaces are now boss, are now kind of associated to Greater Trash Community, so should be on this side of the kill mail. And as for the others, Pandemic Hordens, etc., they're just random, so who knows. Anyway, Fraternity also showed up in a bunch of Munins. It looks like they showed up a little bit later, and they took quite a bit of a bashing there as well. So a lot of the other losses there were due to these Munins, and it doesn't seem to want to let me expand the extra 60, so we won't find out who they are. But yeah, you can see there that Fraternity took most of the damage there as well. All right, so that was that. And then in Pureblood, just to show that not everything goes the way of Snuffed Out, what we had is we had a Rorqual in the capital system of Brave Collective, which is Q-5211. And this Rorqual was essentially picking up a Fortizar that had been unanchored. It was the original Fortizar that Brave bought when they were moving into the system. And Snuffed Out decided to drop on it with an X. What then ensued is a chase around the system as this next one from Poco to Poco. We have a video here. As always, I will link the video in the description below. And what you're going to basically see is a bunch of dictors chasing this Nyx around as it goes from Poco to Poco. Eventually, they catch it on next to one of the Pocos. And we then see a fleet come in from Snuffed Out to try and rescue the Nyx. But you will see there was a lot of bubbles. We definitely know from this that Brave Collective are now fine with dictors. They have plenty of dictor pilots and are more than capable of dropping lots and lots of bubbles to make sure this Nyx did not get away. I think they were very, very happy with getting their own back on Snuffed Out, as Snuffed Out do drop on them quite regularly in Pureblood. So as always, you can check this out in the description below if you want a link to the video and you want to check it out in your own time. Here we go. So we're now seeing basically some Drake navies showing up. Good bubble there. See, immediately just getting all of the fleet bubbled from Snuffed Out. So they didn't have the best day. There's a couple of names that I want to, well, it's actually one name specifically I want to point out in this video. I should point out in the battle report. If we actually scroll down, was it in this one or was it? No, it was actually in the Nightmare Fleet that I think I need to point it out. But I think it's they'll be here as well. Here we go. So this pilot here, McCracket. So those of you who may not be familiar with McCracket, but McCracket is actually a Ragnarok and a Hell and has moved from Capital Fusion and is now part of Snuffed Out. So there you go. So when we see a Ragnarok again, may not be in Snuffed Out as an alliance, but will be flying out as a Snuffed Out pilot. So just a little bit of trivia there, just to bring to your attention. Now we're going to talk about Geminate, and we're going to talk about the Loot Fairy. So the Loot Fairy was super mean on this Malediction. So this Malediction was clearly flying from the drone lands to Jita to sell this module right here, which is the Unit W-634 Modified Damage Control, which is one of the most valuable mods in the game. I actually checked Jita, it's actually selling in Jita at the moment at 36 billion. This mod and the Cormax Modified Damage Control are highly sought after due to the stats that they give, which is 21% resistance to shields, 22% resistance to armor, and 52.5% a bonus to hull resistances. So super duper expensive module, and unfortunately the Loot Fairy kept it. So it was caught by a saber belonging to Fuchi Legion, so thank you to Silo for correcting me on my pronunciation. I was pronouncing it Fuxi, being a Chinese alliance, the X is pronounced CH, so it's Fuchi Legion. And it happens, I have done it myself, where I forgot to turn on my interdiction nullifier when you're just burning through gate after gate after gate. Got caught by a dictor, and like I said, the modified damage control did not drop. So that was pretty unfortunate. And like I said, one of the rarest modules in the game, or most sought after modules, should I say, in the game, normally fitted on faction titans like Komodos and stuff like that. All right, so then we're going to move on to a little bit of news from the other week. If you remember, we had the Raiju that died, and I showed a link to the Twitch stream. We now also have a video from Nopro, I think it's from Nopro, yeah, that actually shows the rocks smart bombing the ship. There's also audio on here of Nopro being very, very happy. So you've got to catch it really quickly. You'll see it right now. You'll see a spot of red appear up here. There we go, it's coming in. Then you can see the smart bombs going off. The effect is actually a little bit late. And then boom, the Raiju is in a pod. So that happened very, very quickly. And if you remember from last week, Lowput was winning Eve and actually announced that he was going to be jumping through gates, which gave the opportunity for Frederick von Hole and Nopro, etc., to get these smart bombing battleships on the gate, ready to gank the Raiju when it came through. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to jump away and do our giveaway for the FI.RE Scope Syndication skins. So I'm going to give you a keyword for this. And my keyword, if I can just go to my notes, here we go. My keyword is going to be break. So you need to make up a sentence with the word break. You can use broken or broke as well if you want, but there's actually a break as in a break in time. So make up a sentence with the word break or one of the words I just mentioned. And you've got until 27th of May 2022, 1800 UTC to make your entry, and I will then reply in a comment to tell you if you've won the FI.RE Scope Syndication skin. So, as you heard at the beginning of the news, I am taking a break from producing these weekly updates and from my Twitch show as well. Now, there isn't one single particular reason why this is happening, but since FanFest, my heart isn't in it. From real life issues, I'm really quick to anger at the moment, which isn't exactly the best situation to be in when you're talking with people all week on Discord and picking these things up. It's also my 80th episode, apart from a 2-week break in September 2021 when I took my mum on holiday. These episodes have been back to back every week, and after 80 episodes, I'm pretty burnt out. So I'm taking a break. I haven't set a date yet. Probably I'm thinking about maybe 6 to 8 weeks. So I'm going to take a break completely from producing content and Eve, and then I will get back in, start playing again, because I've not had a chance to play for a few months now. Get back into the zone, and then hopefully then come back and return to doing these weekly updates for you. So there you go. All right, so we're going to finish off now with the south. So we're going to drop back onto .lan, and we're going to go to Telerifis. Basically, we're talking about the Imperium advance into Fire Coalition territory. And if we actually go into Telerifis, you can see that things are changing all the time. So everything I'm highlighting here, last week was all XIX owned iHubs. Now what we're seeing is that the iHubs are being stripped once again. We see some more being reinforced as we speak right now up here. But the main areas I want to point out are DZ6-I5 and 46DP-O. So these are actually both systems that are used for anti-black jump gates. And then the other ones were, I think, 16 AM to T2 was the other jump gate, which basically was allowing Fire Coalition to basically project into Fetherbolis. So some fights broke out over these, including a Fortizar in DZ6. I have a battle report for this one, so let me bring up the battle report. Now, even though the losses here account mostly, obviously 20 billion of that, 17 billion of that is going to be the Fortizar. The main thing to note here is, first of all, the numbers that are brought in by the Imperium, 658 versus, whoops, I completely messed that up, 658 for Imperium versus 303 for Fire Coalition. And what is notable here is that Pandemic Horde and Test were not here for this Fortizar hull timer. Then the next thing is, if you see me scrolling down on the left here, the Imperium are bringing out a lot of super capitals and capitals. So we're talking 39 Titans, 36 supers, 39 dreads, and 66 carriers. Whilst at the moment, the Fire Coalition do not seem willing to engage in capitals yet still. So I thought that by the point it got to this stage in Telerifis that Fire Coalition would engage with capitals, but it doesn't appear to be the case as yet. Now this is a bit concerning because if we actually look at the map, if we actually go to, one of the fights that took place was in 46DP-O, which is right next door to Deterid. But if we actually go to the Deterid map, and I can show you 46DP-O here, the Fire Coalition staging is here, JTAC ZZYSZ, and that's only 9 jumps. So the Imperium are getting very, very close now to Fire Coalition territory. Now, it may be that Fire Coalition will only deploy super capitals once they can do it directly from their staging system, in which case then once the Imperium come into Deterid, then we may see it. But either way, if the Imperium continues to advance, then there's going to have to be a point when Fire Coalition commit their super capital fleet. Because as we saw earlier, 39 Titans and 36 supers are already in Telerifis, showing up on hull kill mails of Fortizars. So there you go. So there was also another fight that broke out that's worth mentioning in Telerifis. So it's not all one way for the Imperium. That the iHub that was actually flipped over to Goonswarm was flipped, was basically destroyed in an iHub contest fight that took place. I have a battle report for that as well. If I can find it, I think it's this one right here. There we go. I think most of the fight took place in the system of JI1-SY, but it was a 3-hour fight. So if you actually see here, you can see that is the timer for the iHub, and it started off at 60%, then it dropped all the way down to 11, which is basically FI Coalition coming in as soon as the timer comes up. Then this was the response from Goonswarm, or for the Imperium. Obviously Goonswarm have to do the toasting for this. And then it looks like over the next hour and a half or so, FI Coalition were able to basically fight for the SOV and kill the iHub. So obviously that's important because it stops potentially anti-blexes being put in. The moment there's no iHub, then the timer doesn't start for the strategic index to be able to put in anti-blex jump gates and stuff like that. So that was the reason why this fight took place. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily about the ISK, because the ISK was pretty even, but it was more about the objective on this one. And FI Coalition, I'm sure from a morale point of view, they'll be very happy that they managed to take back or destroy that iHub, should I say. And the other thing as well that's worth noting on this battle report is that no Northern Coalition or NC Dot have shown up. So it looks like NC Dot will be coming to assist FI Coalition. So I talked about last week about, we hadn't seen PanFam except kind of the Pandemic Horde SIG and Test being involved. And we will have to see now as we get ever closer to FI Coalition staging system whether PanFam is going to come and assist FI Coalition in any great numbers. So, 23 from Northern Coalition isn't a big number. I think that was a Munin fleet, primarily Serb fleet, sorry. So I think we're going to have to see bigger numbers than that if things continue to go the way they are. All right, then I've got a couple of other battle reports that happened in low sec and high sec that are worth mentioning. This one was a Black Ops drop from Snuffed Out that then turned into a Dread drop onto Localist Primary with very effective results, with 43 billion lost. Also, Hidden Leaf Village Ninja Assassin Squad Esports were there as well. And they took a bit of a beating with some Paladins lost as well. So Snuffed Out being very, very busy. As we saw, they were involved in most of those fights up in the northwest and then all the way down here in the southeast in Heimatar, which is Minmatar space. Also in Heimatar, we also had, so I think this is in Metropolis, but it's related to Minmatar. It's just worth mentioning this is a war deck that actually had turned into quite a big fight. With 23 billion lost to the pirates. As I understand, the groups Strictly Unprofessional Riot and Pain and Compliance have war decked Damfam. Damfam are Minmatar associated, hence they got help from Ushra Khan and Electus Matari, who came to help Damfam against these three groups. So the main thing obviously with high-tech war decks is that it makes it very, very difficult because all the groups have to war deck each other or actually act as defenders. So we'll have to see if anything grows from this. But it was more a case of that we actually saw, a tens of billion loss on a war deck fight, which you don't normally see very often in high sec. So quite painful. I think a lot of these Nestors, as I understand, got bumped off the structure. And the Nestors are not cheap. You can see one here just on its own at 2.39 billion. All right, so that is that. And then I have a battle report here, which I have no reason for it whatsoever. It is literally the Paladin Meetup. So we have Fraternity, we have Imperium, we have Pandemic Horde, and then we have Bandalogs on this side. 4 fleets, all Paladins and Leshaks and Nestors. I assume these are all PvE fleets. These are quite common PvE setups for Pochven, and it looks like they all met somewhere in Urinichi in Pochven. Now, I don't have the story of this as to how this came about, but loads of Paladins and the Shacks just all meeting in Pochven from 4 different groups and just duking it out, basically. And, everyone took some pretty bad damage. I think Pandemic Horde came out good with only 8 billion losses. 32 billion to Fraternity, 30 billion to Imperium, another 17 billion there to Pandalogs. Lots of dead Paladins, so if you're building Paladins, I'm sure you're going to be getting some orders pretty soon. All right, so that's about it. Just obviously we're going to talk about raw call and super kills. Raw calls, we're back up to 13 raw calls destroyed in the last week compared to 4 the week before. And as I said, that was primarily due to FanFest and people coming back from FanFest, etc. In terms of supers, we had 9 supers destroyed, all kinds of different things. Obviously, the usual derelict travelers getting caught by wrecking crew, as always. I think the Esoteria one was a crab beacon, and this one in the Bleaklands, I'm not sure about. The one I think in the Calavella Expanse, I believe, was a hunting nix that got caught. So a whole variety of stuff. So there you go. All right, so that's pretty much everything from me. I won't say see you next week because obviously I'm taking a break. But please do like, subscribe, and all the usual stuff. And hopefully I will see you soon. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.